Hello, welcome everyone to the third annual Would You Die Gremlins Holiday Spectacular. We are doing it live today. Are we live? We are live. That's how you
We're
guys
live.
know. And I have a merry band of gremlin enthusiasts with me today. Anyone who watches or listens to the pod, you guys know all of these beautiful people because you know what? Everyone here has been on the show 3 or more times.
I thought you guys sounded familiar.
So, without further ado, let me introduce Chris from Dead Noise. Chris is a YouTuber. He deals with doing metal and horror movies, which I think is super fun. He interviews the coolest people. Check out his YouTube channel. He also has his show Monster Memories. It's really awesome, and Chris is killing it right now. So say hi, Chris.
Hi, Chris.
Up next, it is one of my favorite people in the horror world, Mr. Mogwai Mike. You know him from a bunch of podcasts, but one of my faves being the People Under the Scares podcast, which he co-hosts with Bobby Torres, who both of y'all have been on this show so many times.
Yeah.
I love it. And
I sacrificed him to the spider gremlin. And
when he listens to this later, which he can't because he was sacrificed, when he's listening in the afterlife, he's going to enjoy that. And, but yeah, fun fact, when I was doing my Spotify Wrapped this for the podcast this year, they said that the number one show that my listeners listened to that wasn't just my own was The People Under the Scares.
Oh, nice.
So I think that makes us podcast besties.
It does. We have to talk about Lost World Jurassic Park coming up, by the way. So.
I'm ready whenever you guys are. Hello, Doctober. Thank you for joining us today. Glad you can be here. And then I got 2 more people to introduce. I got my dear friend Annalisa Petersmark, who is every time she's on my show, it's a fantastic conversation, and they tend to be not unhinged, but we go over so much when we have our episodes. Lisa's been one of my friends for 10 years now.
Yep, crazy.
We were in the Spartan marching band together, and now she teaches the young ones about horror movies. I think that's what you do, right?
Yeah, that's exclusively my job. Officially, my title is 9th grade English teacher, but I pretty much just...
And then last but not least, my final Gremlins enthusiast tonight is my dear friend Chloe Harper Gold, who is a kick-ass writer and film critic and just all around the best at what she does. And she wrote notes for tonight, whereas me being a professional podcaster, I'm just winging it. We're winging it. But Chloe is, she's a professional one.
If this were a group project, she'd definitely be mad at us.
Thank you so much for that intro. We're not being graded on this, but if we were, I would be carrying this group, and we all know it.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a live stream. We might be graded. I mean, people will tell us in the comments.
I thought that's what I was here for. I thought I was here to give you guys all a grade.
Oh, that's right.
So you got it, Lisa. You got to give Chloe her gold stars.
Absolutely.
But yes, we are all gathered here today to talk about just one of the most best. So I'm already failing this English class. We're fucking talking about Gremlins. I love it. This is the third annual Gremlins Holiday Spectacular. This is the first year we're doing it live, which I'm excited about. I'm totally came in with a plan. But yeah, I got a question for each of you, and I think it's a fun question. Or should we do this like a group project? Anyways, let me tell you this question. Let me tell you this question.
I think it depends on the question whether or not we should do it as a group project.
It's more of a game, really. So maybe
Oh,
it should be a group. But I call it this question / game. Make a gremlin. So you know how in Gremlins 2, there's like the vegetable gremlin and the bat gremlin and the spider gremlin and Greta.
Yes.
I may or may have not watched the Key and Peele sketch from Gremlins 2 earlier today, which inspired this little game. But what do you guys think? Do you guys want to try and make your own gremlin individually, or do we want to pool together to make a gremlin?
I mean, personally, I think you overestimate my creativity to just come up with one on the spot. I'm trying to think. It's very difficult.
So it's interesting because the gremlins that are depicted in both movies, in Gremlins, like the original Gremlin and Gremlins 2, all of them sort of are exaggerations of the environments that they're currently in. And so in the bar scene in particular, we have a bunch of gremlins who are getting drunk and getting rowdy, rocking out to music, doing jazzercise, which, not typically found in a bar, but plausible enough, I guess. And then we have the gremlins in the movie theater singing along to the song in Snow White. And then in Gremlins 2, we have a bunch of gremlins in the mall being just exaggerations of mall rats, essentially. And that gremlin in the lab who speaks fluent English with an English accent talking about scientific concepts. So basically, any gremlin that we create right now would have to be a reflection and an exaggeration of either our collective environment of being on a podcast or our individual environments in the rooms and cities that we're filming in.
Is our gremlin just Joe Rogan? Is that
There should be.
The podcast gremlin. Oh my god.
Some like abomination combination of Joe Rogan, Andrew Tate, and
Oh God.
like any other alt-right podcast bro.
I need to pause for a second because you just coined the term abomination combination. We need to start a band.
Abomination combination.
That's our band name.
I like it.
Perfect.
So we went in trying to create a gremlin, and we came out in a rock and roll band.
That's the dream.
I like it.
I approve.
But okay, so gremlins that kind of come out of our environment, that's a fun game, actually. Our respective cities, what would that gremlin kind of be like? Chloe, I think you have it easiest because you're I don't think you're there now, but you're New York City.
Yeah, so I live in New York, which I feel like a New Yorker gremlin would be very interesting, especially now. If you know, you know. But currently, right now in this moment, I'm filming from Philadelphia, and a Philly gremlin is just another kind of beast entirely. I don't think that a Philly gremlin is fit for a family-friendly horror comedy, to be honest. It's it's a bit too wild, a bit too rowdy, a little bit too violent and dirty. I love Philly, but that's exaggeration of what the gremlin from Philly would be.
I love it. Chris or Mike, you got any?
I think my gremlin would just be. I live in a military town, so it's like I just
Oh.
imagine all the drunk Marines that I come across at every concert I go to, and just an even more exaggerated version of that. Yeah, that's really all I got, because that's like the main thing that my city is known for, is being like a gigantic military town. Like, if the military wasn't here, we wouldn't exist, basically. So
Gosh. So tank
Hmm.
gremlin is what I'm
yes,
hearing.
absolutely.
I
All
feel
right.
like that is really inappropriate. I don't.
Inappropriate during the holiday special.
Okay, so I live in Georgia. Oh God. Okay. So Georgia peach, obviously, and so peach is the emoji for butt cheeks. So I'm just gonna say it's just gremlins with huge butt cheeks running around.
Big booty gremlin.
Big
Yes.
booty gremlins. Oh my goodness. I love it. I love it. I mean, if you wanted to be PG, or not even PG, just G, it could have just been a peach gremlin.
James and the Giant Gremlin.
Yeah. I mean, there's a vegetable gremlin, so why not?
Fair
But
point.
no,
Fair point.
we took it all the way. This is what we do on Would You Die.
Don't half-ass anything here. We go full ass.
And Lisa, I saved you for last because we're of the same city. We're repping the Detroit Gremlin.
True. Yeah, I mean, here's the thing is like, especially right now with this like Detroit Renaissance that's happening, I feel like our gremlin is just very like bold and like brash and like prideful, which like is a great thing if you're from Detroit. Like it's amazing what's happening right now, but I feel like that can definitely obviously be taken too far. Like if we're talking very traditional like seven deadly sins pride, I'm thinking like Jared Goff chants in the middle of a church service. Like that's where my mind is going right now.
And I started them. No, I'm kidding. But
Oh,
but okay, I like it. I imagine our gremlin. Well, since we're the Motor City, I'm assuming our gremlin has like car parts. It's like half car, half gremlin. A carlin, a grem car.
Card.
I kind of like grem car.
the Gremmobile.
Ooh, I like that. So okay, we got some fun. We got some fun gremlins in the mix. So I just wanted to start off with something fun. I will go down the list and just kind of ask, because I don't want to repeat questions I've done on the holiday special before, but I'm gonna do it anyways. So I'll start with you, Chris. What is, and actually I'll go a little easier. What is
Thank you.
one of your favorite Gremlins moments? Could be from either one or two.
Well, it's
This-
definitely going to be from two. No offense
Okay.
to the first one. I just enjoy the second one more as far as like entertainment value goes.
Ooh.
Like rewatch value, I can watch it like year round and feel fine. Whereas if I'm watching the first one in the middle of summer, I kind of feel a little out of place.
Okay.
But I love the second one. I love the New York setting. I love the idea of them all being like stuck inside the building, that one building that just happens to be 100 floors, so the possibilities are endless. So it would either be when Gizmo first gets wet in the second movie, and then you see Mohawk and Daffy and Lenny, or it would be when they're in the kitchen, like completely destroying the set in the middle of a live production. Because having taken studio production classes when I was in college, there were some times I was praying something like that would happen, just for having something super interesting. But yeah, I thought that was a lot of fun.
Awesome. Mike, I'll go to you next.
Mine is going to be obvious. You know, I love Final Girls, and it's
Mhm.
going to be Miss Peltzer, Billy's mom, fighting the Gremlins. In the
Yes.
first movie.
That's a good one.
By far my favorite moment. She's like, okay, what's going on? What the hell is this upstairs in my attic? And then she just has to get into defense mode and fight these random creatures in her house. And I just loved every second of it. Every second.
It's such a great scene. Lisa, I'll go to you next.
I think my favorite is probably, this is awful and it makes me probably a bad person, but when they launch Ruby Deagle out the window, oh my goodness.
I'd like to change my answer.
He's just such a horrific person, and like I know that's the point, right? Like, but like you
Yeah.
just have a whole movie, especially like, as a kid, just rooting for this awful woman to go away, and then she goes out in just the most beautiful blaze of glory, and I love that moment.
It's so good. What a perfect moment. And Chloe, how about you?
Honestly, I was caught between Mrs. Peltzer just nuking the gremlins in the kitchen and also the death of Ruby Deagle. Specifically, okay, so I watched Gremlins this afternoon, so it's like really fresh in my mind. And there's a line that she says that totally somehow flew over my head the first couple of times that I watched this movie. So she's in her mansion. She's opening the door to these gremlins caroling, and the gremlins are in her house. And she says, "They've come for me. I'm not ready yet," which leads me to wonder what sort of demon deal did this woman make that she thinks that little hell mutant monsters are coming for her now?
You bring
That's
up a
the favorite part.
point. She has a lot of money, so I don't know.
She has a lot of money. She's the widow of a guy who was convicted for doing some sort of stock swindling.
Mhm.
So she's corrupt, her husband's corrupt. Perhaps she made a demon deal to get her husband convicted and then killed, and then have herself be the beneficiary of everything and have the police not seize all of their assets, which is wild to think about because I mean, I'm probably wrong. I'm not a lawyer, but usually in a lot of criminal cases, especially white collar crime, police and like not police, but the courts seize assets from the person who is either arrested or convicted. So the fact that she was able to keep her house, keep her money, and keep her social standing in that town, that is wild. That has to be the result of a demonic deal, and I think that's a canon event in the Gremlins universe.
Joe Dante, if you're watching, let us know in the comments if Chloe is right and how right she is, because I won't accept no for an answer, because that's amazing.
I think she was a ghostwriter on that movie because that was too good.
Yeah,
That was-
I time traveled back to the 80s to co-write this film.
Chris Columbus, you got some good ideas, but let me make them better for you. All right, so I will name a favorite Gremlins moment, and I'm not going to use any of the ones that you guys picked, even though you guys picked great moments. I think mine has to be the iconic Phoebe Cates monologue, where she recounts how she found out that Santa Claus wasn't real. I'll leave it at that. I don't want to spoil it in case people watching or listening have not seen Gremlins, in which case, why'd you press play?
What are you doing here?
But that's I ain't here to judge. I'm just here to entertain. But yeah, that monologue is so good.
Also, it's the wrong timing. I don't have time for a wicked story right now.
That was
There's
my
too much
whole
going
thought
on.
That monologue is sort of echoed in the second one. She's
Yeah.
gearing up to tell her boyfriend and that other guy about some other horrible childhood trauma. And Billy's just like, babe, we don't have time for this. We don't
Not now.
Yeah, because she starts. Someone says something about Abraham Lincoln, and she goes, "No, don't mention Abraham
Don't ever
Lincoln."
mention Abraham
Because
Lincoln.
on Lincoln Day, on on our President's Day or something like that. And Billy's just like, okay, not now. We got it. That part is so funny. I love it. But no, I remember being like 9 or 10 when I first watched the movie. My mom got me a DVD of Gremlins as like a Christmas gift. And I was sick one day. So I was home and I was just watching movies because I couldn't go to school. And I decided to watch Gremlins, and I'm watching it by myself. And that was the moment that like really terrified me, was that monologue. I thought that was the scariest part of the whole movie.
It's the most plausible part of the whole movie. Like,
And yeah,
accidents like that can absolutely happen and have probably happened more than twice in the past.
and can you imagine being a kid watching that movie and that's how you find out that Santa Claus isn't real?
That's how I found out.
I didn't even think of that.
Right.
I
mean,
hate that line. I hate that line though. It's like, okay, so it's this horrible traumatic thing, like legitimately traumatic thing. But the punch, like it's treated like a punchline, and that's how I found out that Santa didn't exist. Like, really, that's the bad part, Kate? Like, you found out Santa doesn't exist?
that's what makes this movie so, because it's like, I don't think Gremlins gets enough credit as a dark comedy.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah.
But that punchline is what makes it a Joe Dante movie. It's like that dark Joe Dante humor that I love.
I think I was around 7 or 8 when I first saw it, and that most of the monologue kind of went over my head because I'm like waiting for something to happen, like in the background, like a gremlin to show up or something. And then the very last thing she says is, "That's why I found out there's no Santa Claus." I'm like, "What? There's no Santa Claus?"
That's an insane way to find out, dude.
Yeah, right. So, I think the only worse way is like if you're the Phoebe Cates character.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's the only worst way to find out Santa Claus isn't real. But yeah, I love that. I love that scene so much. All right, so I got a little question for you guys. I'm going to start with Chloe this time, then work backwards. So Chris, I'm giving you a break from answering first.
Thank you.
Not including Gizmo or any of the Gremlins, who is your favorite Gremlins character?
I mean, is it a cop-out to say Kate?
No, we love Phoebe Cates in this house.
I love her so much. She's smart, she's brave, she is resourceful, she's funny, and she tends bar like a champ under pressure. That's the American hero that we need.
I couldn't have said it better than myself. No, I couldn't have said it better myself. That's how English works. But yeah, to your point, I think that's a great pick because like she don't know what these monsters are, but then she like discovers by taking a picture that they don't like bright lights, and she's able to get herself out of that situation. And yeah, she meets Billy, ends up going there and helping her out, but like she was gonna get out on her own.
Yeah. Also, in the second movie, she's so sensible by saying, "No, Billy, I don't want this mogwai in our house."
Right.
So sensible. But does he listen? No, babe, it's fine. Like, it's just Gizmo. He's the nice one, dude. I don't want it. It's okay. Just go into my office and pick him up and be alone with this creature.
He just needs a nice little poncho and boots, and I think he'll be fine.
Just don't get it wet. Don't get it wet. Don't feed it after midnight. You'll be fine.
Yeah, you
I'll
just
have to
gotta
go on
follow
a
the rules.
weird, uncomfortable, inappropriate date with my boss.
What's the worst that could possibly happen? Where's the danger?
Oh, I love it. Lisa, I'm going to you next.
My favorite character, at least from the first one, is Mr. Hansen. I think he is criminally underrated. I think it's great that I was talking about this with my partner. I think it's great that in all of these movies, especially like 80s movies for whatever reason, treat like high school science teachers like they're on the verge of the next like scientific breakthrough all the time. And I think that's awesome. I think that his like throwaway lines right before, the egg, if we want to call it that, the chrysalis hatches of like, if any of you guys want to get me a Christmas present, like Super Bowl tickets, this Rolls Royce, like I think that's hilarious. I find him very endearing and very interesting, and I think that like trope of just high school science teachers being the next like scientific geniuses is hilarious. So
Elementary school science teacher.
yeah,
He's like in an elementary school.
Yeah, he's not even a high school science teacher.
No, and let me just say that small town elementary school has such a beautifully equipped science lab that he's running tests on
Very comprehensive.
on a thing and has a syringe ready to take blood. Like what?
Where's the blood sample going? Like, what are we doing with it?
Science stuff. He's gonna take a blood sample, put it under a microscope, and track the stuff.
Yeah.
I thought all elementary science teachers were like teacher by day and like hardcore scientist by night. So, and like he stays there till after midnight.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Good point. I didn't even think of that either.
Like my coworkers are wonderful, brilliant people. They did a lab last week where they made slime. Like that's the level that like we're at. I don't think they're like spending their off time like discovering new species. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. Yeah, I gotta go home. I ain't getting paid for this. I think I know the answer, but I'm gonna ask it anyways. Mr. Mike.
I was really trying to think of who else I could say besides Miss Peltzer. Okay, I don't like his boss. I just like her accent, overall aesthetic. But it's Miss Peltzer, I guess. It's got to be her.
She's a badass.
I can't. I just can't.
I think the only kind of nitpick I have with the first Gremlins, because I think it's pretty much a perfect movie, is after the attack, she's kind of just out of the movie until like the very end.
Yeah.
And that's kind of a bummer. I mean, I get it. It's Billy's story, but like.
How old is he supposed to be again in the first one?
Well, he can drive. He has a job. I'd say out of high school.
My mother would not let me go chase some crazed killer creatures after that whole situation happened.
I also had this question about his age. I promise I won't go on too much of a tangent, but because so he spends all this, he's got a full-time job. Like while they are in school, he is like out at his job. And he has this girlfriend who is a bartender. I mean, I know they're not like together at the beginning of the movie. You know what I mean? He has this girlfriend who is a bartender. He is like hanging out with like either like late elementary schooler or early middle schooler for like most of the movie. And I don't know why we don't talk about that. That's all I'm saying.
It's such a trope. It's such a trope in 80s movies. Like either like a high schooler or just out of high school guy hangs out with the kids.
Yeah,
there's so many movies like that. It's reflected in Stranger Things.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Oh yeah.
I think more creepy in this movie because it's like one kid. Like it's not like Steve Harrington hangs out with like the group. You know what I mean? Like I don't know why this is just like I'm questioning. Like that's all I'm saying.
Yeah, like what is the relationship here? Like how are they neighbors? Are they family friends? Are they cousins? We need to know.
I think they might be neighbors.
It's not a cool situation.
I feel like they only have one school in this. It doesn't seem like a big town to even have. I didn't even see that many kids, honestly. Maybe so. I don't. Maybe they're friends because there's no one else.
It's fair.
They're kids at the beginning.
Yeah.
Well, we're talking about Billy. Corey Feldman's character might have friends. That's not Billy. But as all we can tell, Billy's only friends are his family, Corey Feldman, Mr. Futterman, and Kate.
That's all you need.
And I guess the elementary science teacher.
I'm starting to try to make sense of things now that I wasn't thinking about before.
Well, that's the beautiful thing about 80s movies. Is like, yeah, high schooler Marty McFly is best friends with this like 50 or 60-year-old nut job who does science and steals plutonium from terrorists. Let's roll with it.
I don't question that at all. But
It's really guys, it's really hard to make friends as an adult. Sometimes you just have to be friends with the local children and mad science.
That's why I became a teacher.
Wait, maybe his dad was not making a lot of money being an inventor, so he had to work. But it also seemed like he was going to work during the day, so I don't even know when he would go to school.
Right.
I think he's out of school.
I feel like he's at least 19.
Yeah, because when they're like watching the movie in science, it's like flashing back to him being at work.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know.
At a bank, which
yeah.
you probably need at least a high school diploma to work. Like I know it's the 80s, but they had some requirements.
And like Kate is working both jobs, and I think they're around the same age. So I think they're both out of high school. And then Judge what's his name? Judge Reinhold?
Mm-hmm.
His character that shows up for a hot second and then got edited out the movie. He like has that one scene where he's hitting on Kate and he's telling Billy, "Hey, when are you gonna like do better? Because I'm about to be manager." And then he just pieces out the movie. But I imagine he's like the same age too, you know? So
right.
Maybe, I think we need a prequel. I don't know. I think we need to know what's going on with these people.
Yeah, well,
Yes.
he's out of the movie to go be the stepdad of a Santa Claus. So
I love it. And Chris, your favorite Gremlins character?
Mrs. Deagle. Not really.
Oh, okay. I was about to be like Brave.
No, God. No.
Very-
It's tough because, like, I like Mr. Futterman just because he's crazy, but like, also I think about like people I know in real life that are like him, and I can't stand them. But I'd probably go with Mrs. Pelzer just because, like, I don't, like you said, I don't love how she kind of just isn't in the movie after like her biggest scene until like the very end. But aside from that, I feel like her scenes in the movie are some of the most compelling. Like that,
Yeah.
in the middle of the movie, it's like you have the whole thing in the kitchen, and then they're hatching and all this other stuff. That's one of the standouts of the movie when you think of it like from an action perspective, because you have that, you have the movie theater, you have the department store, and a handful of other little moments, but like that really kicks the movie off as far as the action goes, in my opinion.
Yeah. No, really, because that's like, I think probably the strongest horror scene in the first Gremlins movie. There's a lot of tension in it. I think it's really fun how Joe Dante has the Gremlins playing with like the record player.
Yeah.
Mm.
And that's what she needs to like, that's what motivates her to investigate and then start the whole scene.
I like how you can see their shadows in the background too.
Yeah, very like Nosferatu.
Yes.
She's brave. I would have just left. There's just no, it's just no way.
Sorry, guys. The house burned down. I don't know what to tell you.
I'm grabbing the
we gotta
dog. I'm
move.
leaving, and no one go home.
Let's get the hell out of this town.
And how many people are alive at the end of this movie? Did they kill almost
6.
everybody in the town?
It is like a ghost town when all the gremlins are in the theater.
Mm-hmm.
But like how many people, I'm not sure how many people like actually died, because like Mr. and Mrs. Futterman should be dead, but they show up in the sequel and they're like, they were a little banged up and have some trauma, but they're all okay. And it's like, really? The tractor, like, or was it a tractor? It was something.
Snowplow.
The snowplow.
I mean, I guess their purpose is to just be chaotic and cause as much damage, not necessarily kill, but if it happens, it happens.
Right.
We're just gonna mess with you at least.
I think the confirmed kills are Miss Deagle.
The cop.
Mr. Hansen, I think that's like a confirmed kill.
Well,
And
that was
and then I think the police officers, because that their police car flipped over,
Oh yeah.
and that in movie means death. There's probably a lot more like
They
that.
just look like you wouldn't survive. Their mouths are huge. They're
Right.
I don't imagine I would survive an encounter with like if I'm Santa Claus and they're all over me or in my suit, I'm thinking I'm gonna die. I don't think I would survive that.
But you know who did live was Rockin' Ricky Rialto, because he's talking at the end like, I'm still alive. Those things can't get me. You know, I'm like, oh yeah, that's a character.
Yeah, that's right. I thought for a second, I'm like, wait, didn't they get him? But no, he came back.
At like the very end, they confirmed he was back. But you know who we don't know about is Corey Feldman's character.
Oh yeah.
Unless I'm forgetting.
No, I think you're right.
I just
it's
last remember the slingshots.
That's what I'm
Yeah.
thinking of. I don't think they kind of confirm.
He's
It's Corey Feldman. He survived.
yeah, he's probably fine.
He's good.
This is why you shouldn't hang out with elementary schoolers when you're 20.
I love it. You know, it is kind of his fault.
Yeah.
Corey Feldman's character, because he spills all that water.
Damn it, Corey.
Mm-hmm.
Or
I'm blaming the dad.
oh yeah, for that's true.
Yeah.
And you weren't even here during the match.
Right.
Can we talk about the dad for a quick second? So
Yes.
it's such a weird and interesting choice to have him narrate the beginning of the film and narrate the end of the film. And besides him bringing Gizmo home, he has no part in this film whatsoever. He plays the part of like the bumbling inventor, and then just pieces out with the dog.
But he came back.
He came back at the end, and his attitude was so nonchalant, like, what's going on here? And
Your
like,
wife was almost murdered.
the wreckage of this house. What's going
Right.
on here? Weird adult son who lives at home and supports our family because I'm not doing it.
Yeah. I find it really interesting, like, not to be like that friend that's too woke or whatever, but the idea that like the idea that, you know, this whole chain of events starts because like of this man who's very like entitled and is like, well, like despite the fact that this other guy is trying to tell him like, nope, not for sale, he takes a lot of work, trust me. The guy's like, nope, this little kid is trying to sell me this thing, I'm gonna buy him for $200, which he doesn't have because again, he's an inventor who is not very successful, but like whatever. And then, you know, I think that's really interesting that like, I mean, that's the moral of the movie. I know I'm not saying anything revolutionary or whatever, but that this just idea of this like kind of need to take and to know better than somebody who very obviously knows better because he is the original caretaker of Gizmo. Like, just that starts off this whole chain of events, and then he's not there to take responsibility for any of it. Like, he just kind of comes in and is like, well, you took care of it for me, huh? Like, that's crazy.
Thanks a lot,
Amen.
Dad.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. There's so, like, I mean, this film is so layered in so many ways, especially when you consider the decade that it was produced and released. So yeah, like we have the white male entitlement over this exotic animal taken from an Asian man, but then we also have the second piece of that puzzle, which is the child going against his elder and doing this, thus also having a responsibility and sparking off this chain of events. So we have this societal anxiety about the youth going against the elders, the adults, and this whole film is about societal anxiety. It's the anxiety of the death of American values and culture, with anxiety about foreign influence and infiltration that's going to change the structure of family, the structure of small town America, the structure of the media that our children are listening to. And I don't know, man. This film was hilarious. I texted Austin like a novel earlier about all of this.
Yeah.
Oh, there were thoughts.
Please post the screenshots.
The parallels between the little boy at the beginning and Billy kind of interesting too, because like literally, I mean, this boy's like arguing with I don't know if it's his dad, I don't know if it's like you know, the man that he lives with, and is like you know, like, we need the money, like, you know, whatever. And I find it really interesting that like that's kind of Billy's like it's not like a huge, you know, theme once the Gremlins kind of get into play, but like that's how Billy starts, right? Like Billy is taking care of his family because like his dad won't, and for whatever reason, even if it's a very good reason, this man will not sell the Mogwai because like despite the fact that they are desperate for this money. So I do find that parallel really interesting. I don't know if it was purposeful or not between the little boy at the beginning and Billy's situation and all of that. So yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I do gotta say, I think I found the purpose of Mr. Peltzer, that character, because he does peace out, right, for all the good stuff. But there's a very important reason. He's protecting Barney.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Dogs do take priority. Can confirm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Although I do love when they come back and Barney just like immediately gets into the battle and starts helping, and then like almost runs into Gizmo in the car, and just like Barney's so awesome.
I want to change my answer. Barney's my favorite character. I didn't think that would be an option, but that's my answer now.
There's a line in the beginning specifically, like not specifically about Barney, but about dogs. So
Hi, Bobby.
When the dad brings Gizmo to the house and is presenting him to Billy and talking about this, and the dad is immediately discussing breeding and capitalizing on this new exotic species, he says it might replace the dog as the family pet, which also feeds into the idea that this film is about anxiety about the death of American culture and value. The dog represents the ideal American pet, is the quintessential just pet for a family. and this foreign animal might replace the family pet.
I also think to go off of that point, it's one of those things where it's not like it's that, but also Joe Dante, when you look at his work, is very like anti-capitalist,
Mhm.
and it's like the just pure like he doesn't think, oh wow, we have like 5 more mouths to feed. He doesn't think, how did this happen?
He doesn't
he's an
think.
inventor. Yeah,
Let me
like
ask what. Okay, you gave me rules, but what happens if I break any of these rules?
right. And
Maybe it has
then
a food allergy or something. I don't know. But
right.
you're not like asking any follow-up questions of what the care is for this creature at all.
His
Mhm.
first thought is, how can I make money off this? And that's like, I think the film is kind of like, the film is saying that's fucked up.
Mhm. Yeah,
Or
the film is
yeah,
definitely anti-capitalist, um, especially at the end when the original Mogwai owner comes back and says, "You do with Mogwai what your society has done with all of nature's gifts. You do not
Mhm.
yep.
understand. You are not ready." Like, could not
Mm.
be any more clear. This film is about capitalism and just industrialism.
Right. And I just think it's interesting that, you know, um, I think you said it better a little earlier, but it's just that blatant disrespect of like not just the rules, but just like that blatant disrespect of these creatures. Um, the movie's basically the theme of the movie is like fuck around and find out. So, but yeah, I have not said who my favorite character is.
Yeah, what the hell,
So,
Austin?
thank you. Thank you. Um I'm gonna steal from Chloe and also say Kate. I love Kate. She's great. And that scene where Billy and Kate are like walking home together. And
Mhm.
they're just so cute. And then she's like, I hate Christmas. And he like but afterwards he's like, hey, do you want to go out on Thursday? And she's like, I'm free on Thursday or whatever. He makes this face where he's like, me, you want to go on a date with me? He makes this cutest and I just think it's so fun. I love that scene. But anyways, Kate's great. um I agree with you, Chloe. She's strong, she's funny, she's very resourceful, and I wish they kind of leaned on her a little more in Gremlins 2.
Mhm.
Mm.
I feel like she was kind of the whole thing about Gremlins 2 is that like it's a parody of like itself kind of. So I feel like her
Yeah.
being made into a parody of herself didn't really help. Like because of how serious her character was in the first one, I felt like it could have been more interesting had she been the one serious one in the whole situation, but not like overly dramatic like they wrote her to be. Um, I don't know, like leave that to Mr. Futterman or something. I don't know.
Although a close second would be Mr. Futterman, just because it's Dick Miller.
True, very true. R.I.P.
And I like him even more in the second one. He's so funny in
Oh
the
yeah.
second one.
Yeah.
All right. So I am going to ask everyone another Gremlins question. Okay, I got one. I got a good one. Chloe, I'm going to start with you again.
All right.
What, and it could be any movie, but what movie or movie world, movie franchise would you like to see the Gremlins invade? Like,
Ooh.
what crossover event do you think would be really fun? So for example, no, I don't want to give any examples. I think I said it pretty okay.
Um, I'm trying to think of really tech-heavy movies, and
Okay,
the one because Gremlins, their whole deal is fucking around with tech,
right.
right? They were originally conceived in the early 20th century as an explanation for aircrafts malfunctioning, which eventually expanded into all machinery and uh, machines, devices, right?
Yeah.
Even
What Mr.
watches.
Futterman says. So shout out to Mr. Futterman who says that and who
Mhm.
introduces Gremlin to the lexicon of Kingston Falls. Anyway, I think that Gremlins would be really interesting in the Terminator universe.
Yes.
I like it.
So, follow-up question. In the Great Skynet War, who do you think wins? The Terminators or the Gremlins?
Oh man. Honestly, I think the Gremlins.
They're wacky like that.
They're wacky like that, and and there's such an emphasis in Gremlins, Gremlins 2 at least, but also I think in the Terminator universe, this this struggle against technology and advancements in industrialism and how it collides with capitalism and AI. And I think if we're going by cinematic universe rules, I think that Gremlins being a being of nature and of the natural world, a mutation, but still biologically based. I
Yeah,
think for that reason they would prevail over the machines.
I like it. Lisa, do you have a movie crossover event?
So I do. I don't know why this one is just stuck in my head. I think it might just be it's Christmas, but I want the Gremlins to ride the Polar Express so badly.
That's an amazing idea.
Oh,
I don't know why something about them. Obviously, I don't want them to harm the children, but like I want so
I
badly.
do.
Well, okay. I really can't say that. But I just like I think there's something so fun about like there's already so many like forces like weird forces at work on that train, and then to have the Gremlins like trying their best to like mess with everything. Like imagine the Gremlins during the hot chocolate scene. All of that choreography out the window, burning hot chocolate everywhere. Like I think that'd be so fun.
That is amazing. I love that.
I would watch
So,
that. I would watch both of those actually. So
I know. Like the Gremlinator Judgment Day and then the Gremlin Express. So, yeah, these are great. These are great. Hollywood, give us money and here are a few more ideas. Mike, you are up next.
Oh, there were so many things popping in my head that made zero sense, and this doesn't either. But I want to see the Gremlins in Willy Wonka in the Chocolate Factory. I'm not sure why.
Oh,
oh
I feel
yes.
like it would be darker than it actually already is. But I just really want to see it. And they can sing. I mean, maybe it won't be that different, except they would actually be trying to kill people in this movie versus rolling them away.
well, can you imagine like the Oompa Loompas trying to control like take control of the
It happened.
situation, and the Gremlins are just being Gremlins? So I think that's a fun idea too.
Gremlin
I like
versus
that a lot.
the war is crazy.
So what is this? Charlie and the Gremlin Factory?
I like
No.
that.
Mike, in this version, would Willy Wonka be trying to exploit the Gremlins in any way? Because he's exploiting the hell out of
Oh,
the
of course,
Loompas.
of course. So it should be televised because if it's going to be modern, it's going to be televised or done on live or whatever. And so everybody's going to be watching and paying to see more. The more deaths, the more money people will pay. Maybe we'll get a Uber Gremlin. I swear there's got to be a third evolutionary stage. I refuse to believe they stopped at that second level.
I love it. So, I like that. Gizmo and the Chocolate Factory. That makes it really cute. Okay, Chris.
Adorable.
I don't even want to give an answer after hearing those three. They're too perfect. Obviously, like sticking with the small town theme, like my mind instantly went to Tarker's Mills from Silver Bullet. I don't know why. That's just one of my favorite movies. So like, it's a different small town. It's also less.
Yeah.
It's also less developed. It's very rural. I could never say that word.
No worries.
It's much like where I live. Kind of helps that it was filmed an hour away from my hometown. But I feel like also with Corey Haim's character, I feel like him dealing with the Gremlins would be really interesting. But I also like keeping up with the holiday theme. I think it would be cool to have them in the Nightmare Before Christmas universe because like would they be on like just because there's so many different things going on in Halloween Town, like I also really like the visual of them hijacking Santa's sleigh, like Jack Skellington's Santa's sleigh. But yeah, those were the first two that came to my mind.
I
love that. I think that's awesome.
It would be scary in a rural area too. They would blend in with everything.
If we're going with rural areas and winter as a theme, what about Gremlins in the 30 Days of Nights universe?
I like that too. I like that too.
It's so chaotic.
The scariest fucking vampires put to film aren't the only things you have to deal with this month. 30 Days of Gremlin or 30 Nights of Gremlins. Holy shit.
But with the vampires. And so either the vampires and the gremlins are working together, like the vampires using the gremlins as scouts for prey, or they're going against each other while individually trying to hunt humans. It can go either way.
Or sun up. They're both going to be done when the sun rises. So they have to, yeah.
That brings a whole new meaning to Let the Right One In. Because who the hell is the right one?
I love it. Okay, I'll go. I think mine's pretty obvious.
I feel like, yeah, I was.
But when I say it, everyone's going to want it. We need to throw the Gremlins in Jurassic World.
Oh, Jurassic World.
Mm-hmm.
Because Jurassic World, more technology, but that's where like the rides and Jurassic Park, it can only be so interesting because there's like 7 people on that island. So like, there's only so much mayhem. But Jurassic World, that movie's at its best when the people are involved, like the pterodactyl scene. That's like the best part of the movie, even though it has like the most insane, outrageous, fuck this one person in particular death.
See, no, I have a follow-up to that then, because like if you consider the set pieces from each of the Jurassic World movies, would you rather them be in the first one, Fallen Kingdom, or Dominion?
I would say Jurassic World, just because that's where all the people. But Fallen Kingdom would be fun when they're in like the haunted house, or not haunted, but that mansion where the black market auctions happening.
Mm-hmm.
When you say it like that, you realize how like strange the Jurassic Park franchise got.
Yeah.
The dinosaur smirked at them. In that movie.
Right. But like, I would love Jurassic World to have gremlins because, like, the gyrosphere,
Yeah.
like,
Mhm.
imagining gremlins on that and like just gremlins where all the technology is, and then the dinosaurs get loose.
Mm.
Yes.
Austin, in this
movie.
universe, is the implication that the gremlins are prehistoric creatures that were resurrected by the scientists?
Mm.
You know, the gremlins are ancient and old,
Mhm.
according to the secrets of the Mogwai. So I think that's already canon ish.
But are they
But
prehistoric old?
they maybe. I don't remember what the show said, but I don't think the scientists would have resurrected them because I think the gremlins are just always.
You know they would. Scientists will always want to do something.
And they never
No,
stop to think if they should.
No, what I mean is, like, I don't think the gremlins had died out, so I don't think the scientists brought them back. I just think a scientist found Gizmo or something, and then
Mm.
did scientist things.
It's like sharks, they've always been around.
But you know what that means? They made a Gremlosaurus Rex.
Ugh.
So do the gremlins cause the dinosaurs to die out? Austin, I need all these questions answered. I have so many questions for this Jurassic Gremlins universe.
It was a
And then when
gremlin meteor.
Gremlin can speak, he explained it away and said that it was something completely different. It wasn't gremlins that are responsible for the extinction of the dinosaurs. It's almost like vampires. We're going to make up something else, and so we're going to be fictional. This is a lot. I'm liking all of it.
This is all right. I'm gonna throw a curveball. I'm gonna throw a
What about
curveball
Jaws,
because
though? Because
I
I mean,
had-
we haven't mentioned water yet. So if we throw gremlins in some movie with a lot of water or rain, it could be really interesting.
Waterworld.
I was literally thinking Waterworld.
Jaws.
Taking over.
Oh
like,
my
what would
god!
happen?
Gremlins on the Orca.
Oh yeah,
There's Orca's a ship in Jaws.
Oh, shit.
There's one I want to say, but it's horrible, so I can't say it. But I'll text
Okay.
you guys later.
do it.
What?
Say it.
I can't say it.
Say it.
It's
Look, you already planted the seed.
Now I'm
boy.
interested.
and this is how I get canceled. Gremlins on the Titanic.
Okay,
Oh,
I like it.
that's fine.
It's not too soon.
No.
No.
Too
It's been like
soon.
100 years, man. I think if gremlins were on the Titanic, I might actually get around to watching that movie.
Same.
That hurt my feelings. I'm like a huge Titanic fan.
I saw the musical.
What
There
the
was a
fuck?
musical.
I saw the stage musical more
They
than
made a
once.
musical?
Yeah.
The fuck?
Mhm.
Now I
I
don't
had no
feel
idea
half as
either.
bad. I feel like that's even more disrespectful.
Wait.
Put
Yeah,
Gremlins in the musical.
They have a lot of bangers in that musical, I have to say. But if
Interesting.
Gremlins were part of this and Gremlins singing the main Titanic theme in the musical, I think that'd be great. And also the Celine Dion song,
Yeah, my heart
Yeah.
will go
My heart
on.
will go
Yep.
on. Yeah.
that one. I think Stripe
Oh.
should have a solo and sing that.
Okay, guys, I got one. What do you guys think of Gremlins with Back to the Future?
Mhm.
The Gremlins get in the DeLorean and they just start wreaking havoc throughout all of time.
That could be fun.
That's horrifying.
Like Bill said, but with gremlins.
It's
What
either
about-
they like destroy the space-time continuum or they like wreck the DeLorean to the point where like nothing bad happens because they're just so focused on wrecking the DeLorean. It's one or the other.
I'm okay with both for some reason. What if What if you put them in the Fly universe? Like instead of getting them wet or feeding them after midnight, you put them in the telepod on accident. And
Oh.
Oh, interesting.
yeah, there's a make a gremlin for you.
Like Gremlins.
I love that. That's awesome. Okay. So I was thinking about this one because when I mentioned like Jurassic World, this one also popped in my mind because there was like a little movement for a little bit that wanted to combine Jurassic World with the Fast and Furious saga. So now I want to see Gremlins fucking up all those cars with like Vin Diesel and Jason Statham and Ludacris and whoever else is in those movies now.
It's about family.
It's about family.
Go.
Like the one where they hop the car from the one skyscraper to the other. What if a gremlin was in that car during that scene?
Is that not all the Fast and Furious movies?
You know what?
I haven't seen any of them, so I don't know.
They've been to space, so at this point, anything can happen.
Bro,
Anything can happen.
I want it.
what about Gremlins in space?
Gremlins in the Aliens universe.
I was about to say, so aliens?
Wait, who wins then? The
Alien
xenomorphs or
xenomorph?
the aliens?
Or
The xenomorphs or the gremlins?
The Gremlimorph?
Ooh, I want to really see that.
The Xenolin? Oh, that sounds like a prescription medication.
Ask your doctor if Xenolin is good for you.
Side effects may include bursted chests,
I just got a text from Walgreens. My order came in.
Apprehension to bright lights and water, not to be taken after midnight.
Too late.
I mean, the obvious answer is that Sigourney Weaver prevails against both gremlins and xenomorphs.
Yeah,
Oh, definitely.
absolutely.
Sigourney Weaver would kick ass if she was in the Gremlins universe, and I'm saying that Miss Peltzer would kick ass if she was on the Nostromo.
And she would actually listen to Ripley, unlike other people.
Right.
Kate would also listen to Ripley because she wouldn't want this thing in their dwelling. She would listen to them.
Are there more sensible people in the Gremlins universe than there are in the Alien
No.
universe?
No, I think it's evenly matched, to be honest.
Yeah.
Well, it's
I think the
Ripley.
ratio is about the same.
I think it's 2-1.
Well, yeah, but there's just
Yeah, I'm
less
not good at math,
people
so.
in the Alien universe. There's like 6 of them on the ship.
Yeah.
7 if you count the cat.
Sure.
But is the cat no, the cat's not sensible because the cat could have like killed the xenomorph and it was a baby. And
I said I'm good.
It's also a cat.
Yeah, I'm just saying Josie could have been a hero. Still love Jonesy though.
What about here's a concept. Like I don't know how this would work for a whole movie, but like Panic Room but with gremlins.
They're trying to get in the panic room.
Oh my god.
What's her name? Kristen Stewart and Jodie Foster.
What about The Purge with gremlins?
Oh, that would be nuts.
Chris, you know what you made me think of?
No, what?
What if the Gremlins were in Saw?
I like that even more.
And they just make the traps more diabolical.
I'm good with that. I'd watch that. I would be front row for that. And I don't even like Saw.
Like the character, like the victims think they're getting out of the trap, and then the Gremlins like reverse, and,
You
and
thought.
it gets more haywire. And Jigsaw's like, "What's happening? That's not supposed to happen." I don't. That's my best Jigsaw voice, but you know what I'm saying.
A for effort.
Oh my goodness. I love these. This is fun. I'm glad I just came up with that question on the spot. That was
I
a
have
good.
question.
Okay, what's your question, Chris?
As far as this obviously pertains to the second movie because there's not a lot of variety in the first, but if you guys have a favorite gremlin or a gremlin design that you like more than the others, which one is it? And you can pick either like the Mogwai form or the gremlin form.
The Bat Gremlin from the second one.
Nice.
How wonderful was that creature design?
It's very pretty.
So good.
Yeah.
It's just great.
And the Batman logo when it flew through the wall.
That was such a fun gag. Hmm.
Ooh, that's a really good question.
Is it
There were
cheating
so
if I
many
say
good ones.
Gizmo?
Well, considering you're wearing the costume, I would say
Right.
maybe.
Well, what if I gave you okay, so I'll give you a gremlin and I'll give you because I love when Gizmo's dressed as Rambo.
Oh, yeah.
That is iconic. And when he's that like workout montage he does cracks me up every time. It's so funny. It's so cute. But of the gremlins, I think my favorite might be the Phantom of the Opera gremlin.
That's a good one, too.
Mm,
That one makes me laugh every time because I always forget about it until I remember he's my favorite.
I think I might go with the Spider Gremlin. I felt like it needed a bigger moment, a longer moment. If they could redo that, I would love to just see because that's I'm assuming like the same villain from the first one. It just got taken out much sooner. But I would like to see the spider like in a web, crawling down, maybe attack a few more people. Although I love what's her name, Marla, her moment when she drops to the ground and then screams.
Yeah, it's Marla.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Spider.
I was also gonna say the Spider Gremlin. I mean, like the answer for me is Gizmo, but that's really boring. So, like, yeah, the Spider Gremlin is so cool, and I also wish that the Spider Gremlin had a bigger moment. Not to steal your answer, Mike, but
It's cool. The electric one is cool too. It reminds me of Pokemon a little bit. So I kind
It
of
does
Yeah.
look like a Pokemon. Yeah. There's
know-
so many good ones.
You know what trips me up about the whole thing? So, in both movies, all these other gremlins are coming because Gizmo was in contact with water. So, all these gremlins are spawning from Gizmo. So, does that mean that these are all personality traits that were innate to Gizmo that are now being materialized through these new just generations of him? Because Stripe shows up in both the first and second film, and Stripe is pure id. So, I mean, Stripe is the antithesis to Gizmo, and so by generating Spike or not Spike, Stripe both times, Gizmo is shedding the id and maintaining his facade of innocence and purity because that part of him has been physically expelled from his body.
That's a good point, especially because in the first movie, originally Gizmo was supposed to turn into Stripe.
Mm-hmm.
So in the with all the different personalities in the second one, that I think you're onto something. I never thought of it like that, but like, yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, Stripe shows up in both of them, and also the gremlin that flashes Kate shows up in both films. And shout out to Kate again because in the second film, when she pulls that shit, she just punts him across the room.
Kate's the best.
That's New York
Honestly.
Kate. New York Kate is not taking that nonsense.
You can't in New York.
You really cannot in New York.
That is interesting to think
I love
about.
that they just get references as soon as they're born. Like they know movie references. They
Right.
everything is already just in their brain, and they know Gizmo from the moment they come out. It's like it's almost like they just like we mentioned Stripe, but that's a really good point.
Gizmo caca.
So is Gizmo mom then? since they instinctively know who Gizmo is, and Gizmo is the one who, for
But
lack
they also are Gizmo, right?
I guess it's like, yeah, just they
They're
are
like-
Gizmo, but also the parts of Gizmo that he must shed in order to maintain his place in the Peltzer house and in Billy's heart.
So it's
Mhm.
basically like one of the great mysteries, if you're like Christian, how like God is Jesus, but Jesus is the Son of God, but God is also the Holy Spirit, but God is God.
I was gonna say that, but I really didn't want to because that's not my culture, and I thought I was wrong. So thank you for confirming.
What I'm trying to say is, in the Gremlins universe, is Gizmo God?
Yes.
See, if I would say yes, I would even say he's mom before that animated series came out, and then that kind of threw my mind for a loop. So I'm
Oh,
gonna
that's right. the animated
separate that
series.
from from the movies, and I'm going with this because when I think about it, now that we're talking about this, any movie that's where there's like a split in personality, it seems like the nice one is the one that they can't stand. Like, you're
Yeah.
not letting us have fun. We can't be angry at all. We can't be goofy. We want to have fun. We want to be in control, basically. So I could see that they're like repressed personality traits, quirks that are sick of it.
Mhm.
Which now makes me feel like Gizmo's a villain. So I don't know.
Well, it's interesting because like in this context, Gizmo, he's really chilling with Mr. Wang for like years and stuff. So maybe because like he's just chilling and being taken care of, when he gets water on him, like, no, that's interesting to think about, because like maybe since he's with Mr. Wang, that like caused Gizmo to like chill. Like, I don't want to say he's trained. I don't think that's the right word,
He's domesticated.
but you know what I mean?
Yeah, he almost seems sad though, honestly.
Yeah.
I mean, like we were talking about earlier, gremlins are an exaggeration of whatever environment they're in. So when he's with Mr. Wing is very, very chill, very relaxed, very balanced.
Right.
So is Gizmo. And as soon as he leaves that stable environment, that's when things go wrong.
And Gizmo also likes to get into some mischief. Like,
Yeah,
Who
that's what I
doesn't?
was gonna say too. Is like it's not as though Gizmo is like he stays this like very docile, whatever. He's like singing. There's even that
Yeah.
scene, one of my favorite scenes, where he's like simultaneously like playing a drum and playing a toy trumpet like at the same time. Like,
I
he's
love
like,
him.
and then there's the scene where he's like chilling with the like 3D glasses, reading the comics. Like he's very like mischievous, but in more innocent ways, I think.
Hmm.
Mhm.
He's just a baby.
Oh.
Yeah.
He's cute. He's cute. So he gets away with everything. He's like,
He's like my dog.
yeah, okay, so Mogwais, they're like, I mean, I was thinking cats. It's cat software running on Furby hardware.
Real.
I
That's
like
a
that.
great way to put it. I love at the end of the first movie when Mr. Wang comes to pick Gizmo up, and he's mad because there was like a massacre, but he gets so offended, and the line delivery is so great when he goes, "You teach them to watch television?"
Yes. The best.
That
And
is
even
a
at the
real
beginning of the
crime.
second movie, he's still mad at Gizmo for turning on the TV.
What
Right.
did he have him doing in that cage the whole time? So he can't watch TV. What is he doing?
He was playing
Singing.
chess. He was playing
Oh,
chess with Mr. Wing in the beginning of the second
I
one.
changed my mind. Save Gizmo. Save Gizmo.
But the TV thing also harkens back to this movie being both a satire and a reflection of societal anxieties of the 80s, of foreign and devious influences that are coming coming for the youth through media, so through TV, through radio, through music. So yeah, Mr. Wing isn't going to be thrilled if his beloved Mogwai buddy is being influenced by the trash of 80s American television.
That's interesting
Yeah.
because Gremlins, like the film, has such a nostalgia for older cinema.
Mhm.
Like
Mhm.
Gizmo's watching Clark Gable movies.
Yeah.
They recreate the famous like Jimmy Stewart running across the town and It's a Wonderful Life. They recreate that shot twice, and they just show that scene when Mrs. Pelter's cutting the onions. He's watching It's a Wonderful Life. So, yeah.
I think it's really interesting because, like, we didn't talk about this when we did our Satanic Panic episode, Austin, but this really fits in really well with kind of the remnants of Satanic Panic. It's not very directly, like, related. Like, it's not that, like, they're like, and you let them listen to metal music or anything, but it's very much the same, like, fear of, like Chloe was saying, this corruption that was happening. And I think that, to your point, Austin, like, the idea that the TV that he's consuming is actually like these very classic and wholesome movies, I think is kind of a representation that like this fear is sort of unfounded. Like it is not usually nearly as insidious as the people who have these fears would have you believe. So yeah, I think that's interesting. I never thought of it from that perspective, but the more I'm thinking about it, the more I feel like that's definitely purposeful.
Lisa, your Satanic Panic point is it's so good. I was thinking about it when I was watching this movie also. I have to say though, like, I don't think it's directly Satanic Panic, specifically Satanic Panic. Moral Panic, absolutely.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But when I was looking up and researching the Satanic Panic again, so this movie was released in 1984, meaning that it was written and produced somewhere between 1982 and 1983. The Satanic Panic, as we know it and we understand it, didn't really come into the wider American consciousness until about 85, 86. But the Martin preschool trial was in the early 80s. So perhaps, but again, like there have been moral panics since antiquity.
Right.
So,
yeah, I think this was definitely like a precursor to like you were saying, the actual like burning of the records, Satanic Panic, that we definitely kind of ramped up in 80, 86 particularly. Moral Panic, that kind of precursor to that very specific 80s genre of moral panic, I think you can see that starting to ramp up in this movie.
Mr. Futterman spells it out very specifically. In the beginning, he's known for being so fixated on foreign influences, specifically about Billy's foreign car. And then when he's drunk and exiting the bar, he's on a rampage about what if you took your plow in for a repair and it came back with all these foreign parts. And then he has this monologue when he's explaining what gremlins are. And I wrote it down because I'm a nerd. Gremlins, you got to watch out for them foreigners because they plant gremlins in their machinery. Same gremlins brought our own planes down in the big one, World War II. They're still shipping them over here. They put them in the cars, the TV, in the stereos, in the radios you stick in your ears. I mean, it doesn't get much more clear than that. Like this movie, like his character is so interesting because it's such a satirical character and it's such a stock character. And so it feeds into this idea that Gremlins lampoons all of these anxieties, but also perfectly reflects them as well.
Well, it's
And
funny.
Go ahead, Chris.
No, you.
Well, you go for no. Okay. But what I was going to say is like Gremlins also caused a moral panic with Gremlins combined with Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom is the reason we have the PG-13 rating. And like it's interesting because Gremlins is about moral panic, and then there was moral panic because like People morally panicked about Gremlins.
Wait, what? I didn't know this.
Oh yeah.
People morally panic about everything.
Yeah, and
Temple of Doom and Gremlins.
that's the reason. Like, yes, Steven Spielberg's the reason why there's PG-13, because like Gremlins is Steven Spielberg produced, and then he directed Temple of Doom, and those are both PG movies that get very intense with like the kitchen scene, right? And Gremlins, and obviously the Kali Ma scene in Temple of Doom. So parents are like, how come you're letting our kids see this graphic imagery? And it's just like, well, who took them to go see a movie called Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom? What did you think was going to be in there? Like, sure, it's intense, but like, I don't know, maybe the average eight-year-old probably shouldn't see that movie in theaters.
I've heard worse in church, so I
Fair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's like, it's a pet peeve of mine when people get mad at like ratings. It's like, the ratings are for you to decide what your kids see.
Yeah.
Like, ultimately, you're the parent. It's not the movie's fault.
Mhm. Don't blame the movies.
Right. But Steven Spielberg is getting a lot of backlash, so he went to the MPAA and was like, hey, there should probably be something in the middle between PG and R. For these like more middle movies, and I think that was actually a good call on Spielberg's part. Like, they're probably, because like Jaws is a PG movie,
and so intense. Oh my god!
but I think having that PG-13 rating really helps. But the problem is studios make movies towards the ratings instead of like just rating the movies.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But that's a different conversation for another time.
Yeah, it's some censorship Hays Code nonsense, but yeah, it's a different conversation.
Chris, you had a point.
I lost it. I forgot.
Oh
what
no! I'm sorry.
You were making so many good points of what you were saying, and like it reminded me of other things. I'm like, wait, what was my original thought?
Oh man.
No, it's all good.
Oh, that's funny. That's funny though. So, all right. We'll start wrapping up in a little bit, but I got another question for you guys. I think this is a fun one. I'll start with you this time, Chris.
Uh-oh.
What so we crossed Gremlins over with other movie franchises, right?
Mhm.
What actually, you know what? This is how you know we're doing it live. I kind of lost.
At least I'm not the only one who lost a thought tonight.
It was Christmas holiday related. Oh, I know. What holiday or what like special area would you like to see Gremlins invade?
The 4th of July.
Oh,
You got fireworks, you got pools, you got barbecues. I mean, what else do you need for Gremlin mayhem?
that's perfect. Mike.
Oh, maybe they could destroy a day about love. So I'm gonna go with Valentine's Day.
That's
But
awesome.
Greta has to be in it. Greta has to be in it.
Yes, my Greta Valentine. I know, I agree. I think that'd be awesome. Lisa.
This isn't necessarily a day, but I would love to see them at like maybe the Olympics or something. Like,
Oh.
I don't know why, but like I think setting them loose on an entire city where like everybody has come for this giant event where there are swimming pools and there are, like plenty of opportunities for them to be kind of causing mischief, I think would be really interesting.
That's really cool. Chloe.
Tech Week at a community theater production.
No.
That's great.
That's
You
evil.
hate those theater kids. You hate them.
No, I love theater. I was a theater kid.
Man.
All the respects to the theater kids, but seriously, a community theater, like everyone's there just for the love of the craft. They will identify the problem and fix the problem immediately and get the show on the road on time.
True.
But now there's Gremlins in the mix.
Yeah, I was about to say, allegedly they'll get it fixed.
Yeah,
We'll see
it'll
about
be
that one.
the worst tech week ever. my idea is similar to yours, Chloe. I'm assuming everyone here has seen Wes Craven's New Nightmare.
Maybe.
I think it should be something like the Gremlins Gremlins take over the set of Gremlins 3.
Ooh.
You know, they
Where like Joe
kinda-
Dante plays himself, you know.
The DVD for Gremlins 2 had a behind the scenes featurette that was kind of like that. But to do that for an entire movie, that would be so dope.
And like it'd be so funny for it to be like Gremlins 3 is about the making of Gremlins 3 if Gremlins were real. Sabotaging the making of Gremlins 3.
I like that.
So it's like what happens when you mix Wes Craven's New Nightmare with The Disaster Artist.
I was at a horror night in October, and while walking around at night, I just had this thought: it would be really nice to see like gremlins randomly running across the buildings on the roof of the buildings, messing with people while they're at like the Harry Potter rides, just all over the park. You just see gremlins.
Gremlins would make a great like theme park ride.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So Universal needs to make another deal with Warner Brothers because you know they have that relationship because of the Harry Potter stuff. So get us like a Gremlins ride. You know, I'm thinking like the Spider-Man ride, kind of like half roller coaster, half simulator.
Yes.
I'm so bitter that they took away the Jaws ride to build that Harry Potter world in Orlando.
Travesty.
Yeah,
it's criminal.
Everything's different now. Like Back to the Future's not there.
Back in my day, everything was better.
I think ET was on its way out. There was barely anyone going on that ride, so that maybe. So.
I think they changed Jurassic Park to Jurassic World, and I'm just like, why? People still like Jurassic Park.
But now it's new and bigger.
Exactly.
But they're going to bring us old school because next year or soon they're going to do the whole classic horror movie monster area in the park.
It opens in May.
Well, you can't say we only want to do modern stuff because look, we have all these old villains or whatever.
I'm happy about that because I want to go and like get drunk with the Wolfman. They have a tavern in that area. Like, it's so you can do shots with like the Bride of Frankenstein. So
I haven't done a ton of digging on like what's there. I just knew like from when they first announced it a few years ago that they were building it, that like that's the only reason I want to go back to Universal. Like, because I mean, I'm not a big Harry Potter person, and everything else there, like I'm also not a big rides person, but like it's kind of like going to the City Walk at Universal. There's no like rides, but like the scenery of everything, it's like really immersive. I kind of want that in like the classic Universal Monsters setting, because I'm a wuss when it comes to rides, but I would go just for the monsters though.
It does sound really cool. But now my heart's set on them building a Gremlins ride. Because it'd be so fun to be like on like a coaster or something, and you see the gremlins like taking apart the track in front of
Oh
you.
my
Oh,
no,
gee.
I don't want to see that.
Why do you think I'm not a rides person, Austin?
I think that would be a fun ride.
I'm already
Like-
paranoid as it is.
Like you see a
It could be like the Yeti ride in
at Disney.
in
Yeah.
Disney World. How they
Mhm.
have like you go up the hill and then the tracks end and you get that projection of the Yeti and then you just go backwards the entire track.
Right. Yeah. That's what I'm. Yeah. That's. I love that. Or like maybe there's a part where you see a gremlin, the gremlins in the control booth, and the car is like going up and down, and like they're controlling you. And I think it would be a lot of hijinks.
It could
I
be a
wouldn't go on it,
combination.
but it'd
It
be
could be
cool.
a combination of like a classic roller coaster, but also Tower of Terror. And so
Abomination combination.
Jeez.
yeah, so you have the classic roller coaster, and then when you least expect it, you see a gremlin fucking around with the controls, and then you just drop.
Nope.
Yeah.
Nope.
Oh, like
That's the
like in the
perfect
Tower
moment.
of Terror.
Yes.
Yeah.
That is the perfect moment.
We need it. Universal, make this Gremlins ride and make all the money. Can
Why
you
are we not
imagine?
funding
All,
this?
can you imagine all the Gizmo plushies they're gonna sell in the gift shop, in the ride gift shop?
Hmm.
Like as soon as you get off the ride, it's like all the Gizmo stuffed
Yeah.
animals and like I survived the Gremlins ride shirts.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'll be waiting there while my friends get off the ride because ain't no way in hell I'm going on that. Sorry.
I think it'd be fun.
Chris, they would probably safety check it several times before they opened it.
I have trust issues. And there's gremlins. I don't trust nothing.
The Gremlins are the ones doing the safety checks.
Yeah, exactly.
That'd be so funny.
Nope.
You know how there's like ride videos where it's like keep your hands inside the vehicle of all time, and you know like those safety videos on the rides. It'd be funny if like they had a Gremlin version of it, and like the Gremlins are like not following the rules, so they're like falling off the coaster and like
They're so going to steal this idea.
they better.
I already see it happening.
They need to send you royalty checks.
Yes, Bobby knows what's up. He says that ride would be ridiculous. I love it. Bobby knows what's up. So
Are kids watching Gremlins? Like, do kids they know about the Gremlins movies? Or
well,
is it
like they
like-
have the TV show.
yeah, but that's different. I like the TV show, but it's different.
No, that's fair. But I feel like there's that one game. I don't know what it's called, but Gizmo and Stripe are characters in it. It's like this Warner Brothers version of Super Smash Bros. And you can play as like, it's weird because you can play as like Bugs Bunny and Marvin the Martian and Shaggy from Scooby Doo and the Iron Giant.
I have not
And then,
heard
like,
of this.
Batman and Wonder Woman and Arya Stark and Jason Voorhees.
What game is this?
I don't know what it's. Let me look it up.
I'm Googling this.
You really? I think you're
Is this
lying.
real?
Arya Stark. Wait.
That sounds
Yeah,
like
it's
Chapter
all Warner
One.
Brothers. It's all Warner
It's
Brothers
multiverses.
characters.
Does Warner
Yeah.
Brothers own Game of Thrones?
Yeah, because they own HBO.
Oh.
Oh yeah, that.
And I need Brienne of Tarth if we're gonna have Game of Thrones characters in these games.
What is it called? I'm searching Warner Brothers fighting
called
multiverses.
Multiverses.
Yeah, and here's what Wikipedia is saying is the playable character list: Agent Smith from The Matrix, Arya Stark, a Banana Guard from Adventure Time, Batman, Beetlejuice, Black Adam, Bugs Bunny, Finn the Human from Adventure Time, Garnet from Steven Universe, Gizmo, Harley Quinn, Iron Giant, Jake the Dog, Jason Voorhees, LeBron James,
Sure.
Marceline, Marvin the Martian, Rick and Morty, Nubia, Raven, Rain Dog. I don't know a lot of these. Oh, Samurai Jack is in this shit. I know who he is.
Oh, jeez.
Shaggy from Scooby Doo, Steven Universe, Stripe, Superman.
Why isn't this more popular than like Mortal Kombat? And
I don't know. Taz, the Joker, the Powerpuff Girls, Tom and Jerry,
Sailor
Velma.
Moon, is Sailor Moon in this?
Not yet. She might be, but and then Wonder Woman. Yeah, it's insane. And it's like I didn't know I needed to see Marvin the Martian kick the shit out of Jason Voorhees, but yeah. Or like Gizmo going toe to toe with freaking Rick from Rick and Morty and the Iron Giant. Like, what is this game? But anyways, all that to say, yeah, Gizmo and Stripe are playable characters. So, like, if the kids are playing that game, they know who Gizmo is.
But are any kids playing this game?
That's a fair point.
Kids these days.
Heard talk of it, but I don't think they're playing it as much as they're playing like Fortnite. Still.
Oh, I saw that you can play as Godzilla and do the gritty in Fortnite now.
And like the actual size Godzilla is supposed to be in that, or just like a miniature one?
I don't know. I don't play Fortnite. So I don't know.
Solitaire and Candy Crush. That's it.
Don't kill me. What do you guys think of a remake or a reboot of Gremlins?
I have some ideas for one, for like a reboot, but it would lean way more into horror than comedy because that's kind of how I roll.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I have ideas. Not that anyone has asked me to write it.
Do it.
I'll write it on spec. Chris Columbus wrote it on spec.
Exactly. I'm very open to it just because it keeps Gremlins alive in the pop culture. I would just hope that they don't try and take the easy way out and they keep the Gizmo and the Gremlins practical.
Yeah.
I think it would be smart, one, because it's better for that kind of movie, but two, like, no one wants a CG Gizmo.
No.
Yeah.
Like,
I agree.
the prime, like, it'd be a movie for kids, but the prime audience is going to be, like, the parents who grew up with Gremlins.
Mm-hmm.
I think more studios... I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
Oh, you're good.
I think more studios are starting to hopefully realize that like people are thirsting for real like practical effects. Like for example, Wicked just came out and all of the scenery was like practical effects. Like all of it was like real scenery instead of CGI. So like I don't know. I mean like hopefully I'm like trying to be optimistic about that because I prefer practical effects obviously, but I would be hopeful that they would hopefully like stick with more of the actual like physical like dolls and stuff like that rather than CGI and Gizmo.
Puppetry can be really, really effective, and depending on the design of the puppet and how it's operated, it can be really unsettling.
And like, you know, who is one of the most popular characters of the past 5 years? Baby Yoda. Baby Yoda is practical. And there is all the it was Baby Yoda mania. Yes. I'm old enough to remember when you couldn't get Baby Yoda like merch and people were like fighting for like bootleg Baby Yoda shirts because Disney didn't have this, they didn't realize how big this character was going to be. All that to say, like, is Baby Yoda not just this generation's Gizmo?
Fair.
Dang. I never thought of that.
Like, They're so similar.
Are they similar or are they just both cute?
That's kind of where my head's at. But I also
Uh,
never saw The Mandalorian, so
They
I
got big.
haven't either.
They got big ears. They're slightly magical. They're cute. I think they're very similar in that regard.
I think in terms of like people's reactions to them, yeah, definitely.
yeah.
Right.
The
And
Tiny little
there's
pocket creatures.
there's like there's an archetype, cute as fuck, sidekick characters with big eyes and big ears, and you just want to hug them. That is
Like
the
Pikachu.
full Pikachu,
Pikachu.
Stitch.
Uh-huh.
Stitch is one. Baby Yoda. Gizmo, I think, is the OG. I can't think of one that's older than Gizmo. But yeah, I think like Pikachu is like the young millennials Gizmo.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then like the Gen Alpha have Baby Yoda, you know. So, and I know there are more characters. I mean, there
Toto from Wizard of Oz.
he counts. He got big ears. He's cute as fuck.
Mm-hmm.
He's a sidekick character. Toto's kind of the Toto like gets stuff done too.
Mhm.
Yes, Anthony Grogu is adorable. We love him. He's iconic. I'm looking around my nerdy ass room, see if I can see more big ear, big eye, cute sidekick characters. But like, it's definitely a trope.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Once
Like
he
they're-
became small, baby Groot.
Oh, yeah.
I think adjacent because he doesn't have the big ears, but he has all of the other traits.
Yeah.
So I will allow Baby Groot in this family. I think that's a good poll, Lisa. I think that's. Would Rocket count? He's not
I don't.
really cute,
Mm,
but he's got big ears and he's kind of a sidekick.
He's too much of a smart ass to be.
Okay. Okay, that's fair.
does
That's
Augie count?
who?
Augie? He's your sidekick.
My mom's gonna be so mad at me. I'm like, who's that? Your dog?
Your dog that you love.
I do love Augie. Oh, well, you know, yeah, he would count. My boy Paco, rest in peace, real one. Paco would have counted. But yeah, I don't think Yoda counts.
No, he's too big.
And too wise, right?
Yeah.
So,
No, things.
Anthony says porgs were designed for the 2017 film Star Wars: The Last Jedi. They were conceived by writer/director Rian Johnson, who created them to digitally cover up the vast numbers of real-life puffins. I fucking love the porgs.
I didn't know that's why porgs were created.
Porgs are so cute. And then they made a whole bunch of merchandise. It was like killing two birds with one stone. Mickey Mouse. But he's not a sidekick, is he? He's the main kick.
He's
Pluto.
got small eyes.
Pluto, okay.
I feel like Pluto is too big to fill this trope. I feel like the trope is very specific to small furry creature.
Compact.
Yeah,
Okay.
like could fit in a backpack or a little basket.
So Yoshi is too big. He also doesn't have big ears.
She doesn't have any ears.
He's also not furry, is he?
I don't think so.
I think being able to make you tear up has to be important because even at the end of the first one, his little baby voice saying "Bye, Billy," that
Oh.
really touched me. Probably still now, but
when he says "bye, woof woof," bye, woof woof. Bye, Billy. But okay, while we're on this topic, you know what pisses me off about the ending of Gremlins?
What?
It's this beautiful moment where they're saying goodbye, and Mr. Ring's like, "Oh, he wants to say bye to you," and Billy goes, "You can understand him," And it's like, motherfucker, Gizmo's been talking this whole movie.
Plain
Okay,
English.
yeah, that made absolutely no sense.
Like he was talking to Gizmo that whole movie.
See, the first time I watched it, I watched it with my grandma and my sister and my mom, and the whole time it was also my grandma's first time seeing it, and she's like, "This guy's so stupid." The whole movie. So when that happened, she's like, "Oh, you got to be kidding me!"
Oh
Then
my
Mr.
goodness.
Mr. Wing has that line in response to that. To hear, one only has to listen, which sort of echoes what Kate says about Mr. Futterman. Like she's talking to Billy after Mr. Futterman goes off drunk, after he goes on that rambling monologue about gremlins and foreign influences. She says something like, I think he just needs someone to listen, or sometimes
Yeah.
you just need to listen to someone.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like a big kind of like theme for the movie is like listening, because people don't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's a really good point, Chloe, and I'm
Mhm.
glad you brought, because like when Kate goes on her monologue later in the movie, the whole movie stops for it because Billy's actually listening to someone for once.
Mm-hmm.
And also, it's so funny when she reveals that her dad died, and Gizmo's ears go like just lower, and he has the most shocked expression.
That's also how I felt. That was a visual
Yeah.
representation of what was happening to me the first time.
I was like, "Wait a minute."
I have a question about that though. So, are we to assume that she and her mom moved to Kingston Falls after this happened? This is a small town. I feel like this, like a death like this, wouldn't stay within the family. I feel like news about that would spread like wildfire in a town like that. And this is
Yeah.
all new information
Right.
to Billy. So what's going on? Like did Kate's mom move them to this town after that tragedy? There's not enough backstory. There's so many throwaway details and throwaway lines that lead to questions about this town's culture and Billy's relationship with Kate, because this is all new information to him.
But the important thing to remember is Billy doesn't fucking listen.
I was gonna say, I was like, either they're new or just Billy is really like, it's another example of the fact that Billy does not fucking listen.
Yeah.
Right. And it's like, hey, Billy, here are 3 rules you need to follow when taking care of Gizmo. And Billy's basically like, you want me to do all 3 of these things?
You know what? Like father, like son, because his dad didn't want to listen to Mr. Wing.
Exactly. Right.
Look,
But
there's only
I can't
3
blame him
rules.
for the food. The food, they tricked him. I can't really blame him
yeah,
for that part.
right.
Because who would think these little? I mean, they tied the dog up, so that's one thing. But
Yeah.
so the food,
But-
they tricked him.
But like the water, like the first time was
Yeah.
an accident. But then he's going to the science teacher and willingly doing it.
I
And
know, that's like, I love that whole part. I'm sorry, the first time that like poor Gizmo gets wet and like he's writhing in pain, right? And they're just like not paying attention to him, which I get it. Like there's other things happening. I understand. Like I didn't expect a furball to like turn into another mogwai. That's crazy. But then like they turn to him and like he's crestfallen by these other little mogwais. And obviously we know this is foreshadowing. But they ask him like, what's wrong, Gizmo? Like, I don't know. You just like kind of let him sit there and like be in pain for 10 whole minutes. Maybe that.
did you not hear him screaming?
And then you're doing it to him again with like a very carefully measured out little eyedropper of what, like that's going to make a
Right.
difference.
Right.
So
It
the
still
series,
fucking hurts.
the series does touch on that a little bit. Like the Gremlins or the Mogwai is supposed to be a test for humanity, and obviously they fail over and over.
Yeah.
A test for human from who?
Yeah. So, I don't want. You gotta watch it on Max.
Okay,
It's on the
fine.
Mogwai. I'm sure it's on YouTube also. You could probably just watch a recap. just to get like a 10-minute whatever. But like
That's right. That did happen.
For humanity to see what we would do with them and see if we deserve whatever the fuck. And we failed. And so and that's what happened.
Right.
Is this like some pseudo-religious idea being inserted into the Gremlins universe? Like, all right, humans, you failed in the Garden of Eden or whatever. So millions of years later, let's give you this adorable little thing that can regenerate with water. Let's see how you handle it.
The show incorporates a lot of like Chinese mythology because it takes place in China.
Great. No, it's like that's better.
Well, I think it's because they take I think like you follow a kid who encounters Gizmo, and I watched the show, but I don't really remember it. I think the kid's supposed to be Mr. Wayne. Like it's a prequel show. So, but I think they came out with the season 2, but I haven't watched it yet.
So speaking about Chinese mythology and the Gremlins universe, so when I was researching today for this podcast, I got into the Wikipedia article, I know, for Mogwai. And so it was talking about the different Chinese characters, like the letters, like in their written language, and how there are two characters that make up like Mogwi, I think it is. And so the Mogwi are specifically religious demons. So it translates, it's a demon in a religious sense, and it's different from this other supernatural creature, I think called Yaoguai, which is this sort of amorphous, ambiguous, supernatural thing that fucks with you. And then Gui, I think, means ghost or spirit of a dead person. So I don't know. I just thought that was interesting.
Yeah, I was watching like a making of Gremlins documentary earlier today, and Chris Columbus was saying how like he had a Chinese to English dictionary, and he used that to kind of get that's how he came up with the word Mogwai, essentially. So,
I mean, I'm still working on my English, so props to him.
You're doing so well, Chris.
Thank you.
You're doing better than me.
I don't know about that.
Me, who literally said, like, what dumbass thing did I say today? I don't know. Everyone could rewind it. I said multiple dumbass things today. It was probably like, yeah, roll back the tape, and I probably said like, me goodest Christmas movie, Gremlins. So, but yeah, I love Gremlins so much. This live stream's been so much fun. I'm gonna let all you guys kind of drop your socials, plug what you guys have coming up. And Chris, I'll start with you. Where can the people find you should you want to be found?
Should I want to be found, you can do so on Twitter and Instagram at Dead Noise Blog. I don't have a lot of horror stuff coming up. However, if you're into rock music or metal music at all, I've got a bunch of interviews coming out over the next couple weeks. I'm trying to see how much I can get done before the holidays, but I have a feeling it won't be much. So you'll probably end up seeing them the week after Christmas. But I have a lot of stuff in the works, and I just hope to God I'm able to do it all. But yeah, that's where you can find me.
Cool. We got a question in the chat, so I want to answer that real quick. Anthony's asking us, Gremlins or Grogu?
Gremlins.
I have to Google this. I don't know who that
Yeah,
is. It's Baby Yoda.
Oh, yeah, Gremlins.
I think the question's more aimed at me.
Is that not Yoda or Baby Yoda?
It's Baby Yoda. Yeah, Grogu's Baby Yoda.
Okay, it is cute. Gizmo or Gremlins. Yeah, I think maybe the fur makes a difference. Like you said earlier, I think it's the fur.
All right. So I'm a fan of both.
So cute.
I would say Grogu over the Gremlins, but Gizmo over Grogu.
Okay, I see that.
Because I like my cute. So, all right, I'm gonna be like this for the rest of the stream. Mike, where can people find you, and what do you got coming up?
You can find me just randomly spouting nonsense on Twitter and Blue Sky. My handle is at ThackRewinks86. You can also find me. I'm one half of People Under the Scares podcast. We are a horror podcast. We don't take ourselves too seriously. It's me and Bobby Torres, and next month we are doing werewolves. So we're going to be covering a few werewolf movies.
Yes,
we've been excited about for a while, and it just for whatever reason wasn't working out. So we forced ourselves. We have to do it and make a plan. So that's what we have coming up.
Nice. Lisa.
All right. Well, you can find me at Whimsawillow on Blue Sky. Not so much on Twitter anymore. You can find me there. You can also find me at Instagram at Lisa Pete. That's just the last half of my name, Liese, and then Pete. Yeah, and got some really exciting things that I'm not gonna announce yet, but like are coming down the pipeline. So follow me there to find out.
Yes. And last but not least, Chloe.
Say my name in the mirror 5 times, and I'll probably show up to say hi.
That's the best answer.
That's the best Yes, I agree. Holy shit.
If you don't want to take your chances, I'm also on Twitter and Instagram under YoClo13 and also Chloe the Final Girl, if you're into that.
I love it. Oh my god, that was
good.
Awesome. Alrighty, thank you everyone for joining today. Thank you everyone who was part of the chat, who commented, who liked. This was a bunch of fun. And to my guests, just appreciate you guys joining me yet again. This has been a great Gremlins holiday special. So for everyone listening and watching, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa. There are so many more holidays that I'm forgetting. Happy holidays, my friends. So we out.
Bye.
Bye.